production, because once you're doing 7 million in production, you're usually ready to start scaling your business a little bit more alongside of transactions. Really quickly, yes or no? Welcome. Okay, we've got Danielle in Eugene, Angel in Boise, London, Ontario. Okay, welcome. We have a lot of people from Canada, Wichita, Kansas. We almost moved to Wichita, St. George. Love St. George. Um, Really quickly, this is a quick yes or no question. Has your broker ever talked to you and used the phrase scaling your business? Has your broker ever used that phrase with you? Yes or no, if your broker has talked to you about scaling your business. Oh, a few of you have. Okay. Small percentage, yes, mostly no's. One of the reasons your broker rarely talks to you about scaling your business is because they usually don't have the framework you need in order to scale your business. So they often don't talk to you about it. So today we're going to talk a little bit about what it actually means to scale inside of your real estate business. Have any of you guys thought about scaling it? What are your ideas for scaling it? I'm going to jump into why I moved my license to eXp, what we do inside of Powerhouse, and why eXp was the platform for me to scale my business without working more hours, right? So we want to talk about behaving more like a CEO than an employee. And we have agents sometimes that behave like employees and then they get paid like employees and they have that job forever, right? An employee has to go to work every single day, 9 to 5, to get paid. And that's what happens with a lot of agents. And then you have people that behave like CEOs. And the agents that are the ones coaching the football teams or they're on vacation without a laptop, those are the agents that have behaved like CEOs. Yes or no, if you want to take a vacation without a laptop? Yes or no? At some point, you want to go on a vacation without your laptop. Missy Brown is like, yes, please sign me up. Sign me up. Okay. Can I teach you how to do that today? Is that okay if I teach you how to do that today? Is that all right with you guys? Okay. I'm going to jump into it. Let me share my screen here. This is going to take me just 1 second. Get my screen shared. We'll get into present mode. Open up the chat so I can still talk to you guys while I'm presenting. And let's get this. We still have so many people coming in. Okay. Turn on your camera, take some notes. You'll retain more information. It's just a simple hack to keep you engaged in the meeting. Inside Powerhouse, why eXp works. I'm probably going to talk a little bit fast. We'll email out the replay so you guys can watch it if you want. A couple of things you should know about me. I started at age 34. I'm an Enneagram 8, which means I'm a little bit bold and bossy, but I'm like a fierce protector of the underdog. Just ask my kids. I'm a mom to four. I'm kind of a marketing nerd. I work part-time hours, and you would call me a geriatric millennial, which means I grew up playing Oregon Trail, but I got a cell phone in college. Anyone else grew up playing Oregon Trail? Died of dysentery, right? Um, Today, we're going to talk about the mindset behind building a business that doesn't ruin your life, the strategy you need to copy and paste into your business, and the people that will support you and show you the way. And hopefully by the end of this call, you'll feel like have some clarity and kind of be off to the races of like, okay, I know what to do next. So one of the first questions we need to ask when we want to talk about behaving like a CEO is we need to understand, how do agents grow? How do you grow in the business? Okay. And you can see this in a lot of different industries. So a lot of agents, their first deal is a buyer. Yes or no, if your first transaction was with a buyer? I would say 75% of agents start with a buyer. You don't need a lockbox. You don't need a sign. You don't have to photograph the house, right? You just find someone that wants to buy a house and you hope that listing agent kind of holds your hand through the deal. Yes? Sound familiar? Yeah? Anyone? Like we can just, okay, Faith over here is being like big time. She's like, actually, my first deal was dual agency. Okay, Faith. I see you, right? But a lot of times we see you start out with buyers. and you get really good at prospecting buyers, and then you become listing heavy and you tend to increase your price point, right? Buyers are great until they aren't, right? If you're showing 50 houses and buyers never have to buy, right? They can rent or they can stay put or they can do these other things. Sellers, as you mature in the business, you realize sellers are a more sure paycheck, and you have better, like a better hourly rate, and you have a better schedule with sellers. Do we see that? Agree or disagree? Yes or no if you're tracking with me. Okay. Then what ends up happening a lot of times is you get really good at prospecting buyers and sellers, and then suddenly you are just like on this hamster wheel of like deal after deal after deal after deal, and it just starts to pick up momentum, and your phone is ringing and dinging, and you can hardly catch your breath, right? So then what do? What's your next step? You hire a transaction coordinator or someone to help take your, some of the weight off of it. But then a lot of times you get into the agent business. You hire a showing agent. You build a local team. How many of you, true or false, if your broker has said the next step is to build a local team? True or false, your broker has said that to you? Like once you start prospecting so many deals, like more deals than you can do, well, then what do you do with all the deals? No one's telling you to build a local team? What's your broker telling you to do? Just work more hours? Actually, I'm baffled by that because I feel like the local team is like the next step. What if you want to drop in what your broker's told you to do once you've prospected too many deals? What do you do with all the deals then? Like you just have to do them? What if you're I mean, Instagram allows you to prospect deals all day, every day, right? Can we agree that the math on that is not mathing? Hire an assistant. Okay, but you're still then starting to build a team. Hiring an assistant is step one of building a team, right? Because let's all agree that as one person, there's very little training on that. They train on vendors to help them make more money. That's the red flag right there. Because theoretically, it always starts with marketing. The best marketer always wins because the best marketer ends up closing the most deals, which even if you don't start out as the best agent, you become the best agent because you do the most deals. So it always starts with marketing. And so if you're so good at marketing and you bring on so many deals, there has to be something where it's like a surgeon can only operate on so many patients in a day. I don't care how skilled the surgeon is. The surgeon can only operate on so many patients in a day. Yes or no, if that is true? Okay, the same is true for agents. You can only do so many deals as one person. So you hit this ceiling in your business. And it's like you just keep running faster. And that leads you right to what? Burnout. So, hi, I'm Amy. In the past few years, I've worked part-time hours making multi-six figures buying and selling real estate. This is just my transaction arm of my business. I built Powerhouse to almost 700 agents, working collaboratively to close more transactions and created best-selling digital products for agents. This was me my very first year in real estate. Pregnant with my fourth baby. This little girl right now is 16. The little girl in the bathing suit. I set a record on this house. It was one of my first listings, and we set a record on price per square foot for that area with Instagram. If you're not where you want to be in life, find people who are, then do everything they did. Figure out who has the life you want and do it like they did, right? You see this in sports. How come Kobe Bryant was Kobe Bryant? Michael Jordan. How come Devin Booker is Devin Booker? Kobe Bryant, right? They all learn from each other, okay? So my question for you today is, what if everything you've been told about building a real estate business isn't actually true? We just went through it of like, well, if I'm so good at prospecting deals and I'm just supposed to keep closing them all, like what's the next step? How come no one is giving you the next step? Why aren't they telling you the next step? That's the big question. Okay, so we're going to go through that today. This was my business before eXp Realty. I was bringing home $106,000. That was my first year. I was pregnant with baby number 4. The second year I maintained this number, and that was my hardest year. My hardest year was like when I had a newborn baby, as you can imagine. Then I moved my license over to eXp. I was exposed to new ideas and new rooms, and I doubled my business with a 1-year-old. Okay, and 3 other kids, but the 1-year-old took most of my time. By year 5 at eXp Realty, I broke 7 figures and I 10x'd my business in 6 years. Right? From here to here, I more than 10x'd my business. Okay? I'm not telling you this to be braggy. I'm telling you this so that you know it is more than possible. Okay? Here's why this matters. Women-owned businesses and the 1 million revenue mark. Only 1.7% ever hit 1 million in annual revenue. Let that sink in. Compare that to male-owned businesses where about 12% cross the 1 million threshold. Still, this is a really low number, right? Only about 1% cross that threshold. So breaking into the 7-figure club as a woman isn't rare. It's like revolutionary. And let's go back to this. Asterisk, working part-time hours and taking a month off each summer. How many of you think that's possible for you? Yes or no, if you think that's possible for you. Yes or no?
I honestly don't think I have the confidence to say yes for myself, but I would like it to be true.
Okay, that's step one. That is step one, right? I would like it to be true. Okay, let me show you how. Okay, we good with this? Here's why this matters. Anytime I go to a real estate conference, this is what gets presented from the stage. I'm selling tons of real estate. Everything is going great. Da 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 da. Oh, wait, I'm also almost bankrupt. I'm building this empire, but my family is a mess, right? They burn the whole thing down and then they rebuild it, and now they're picking their kids up from school. How many of you have heard that business from stage? Dean Graziosi shares this story every single time. Wouldn't you say he's one of the biggest players in real estate? Right? He talks about how he built it, burned it down, lost his family in the process, then rebuilds it. And then his measuring stick for success is, and now I pick my kids up from school every single day. Okay. I was already doing that. And I've been doing it the whole time. So I'm going to tell you something. Don't listen to the people on the real estate stage. They did it all wrong. You already are, if you're already like picking your kids up from school, right? Yeah, funny. It's always men have the luxury to lose their families, LOLs, right? Yeah, right.
Yeah, completely right. Still
So,
picking up my kids.
yes. So if you're picking up your kids, stay it like hang on to that piece, build around that piece. Don't sacrifice that piece and then think you're going to come back and pick it up. You're not. You're not. And the reason you need to have constraints on your business is because constraints will give you increased productivity. You'll make decisions faster. You will have to be more creative in your problem solving, which leads to innovation. If you don't believe me, look at 2020. Look at 2020 when everyone had to work from home. I remember laughing and I was like, well, buckle up, Buttercup. I've been working from home for 15 years. This has been possible for 15 years, right? And everyone figured out how to do it. Here's why this actually matters. Your nervous system is actually probably a wreck because if you built it like your broker's telling you to, like, oh no, you can't build a team. You just hire an assistant and you just like keep bringing in these deals. Okay, that's a great recipe for disaster. That's a great recipe for disaster. Your nervous system is a wreck. You often face abrupt and unexpected challenges like deals falling through via simple text message. I was literally sitting in my family room. There were 4 other moms at my house and probably 20 kids after school one day, and I get a text message, my buyer's canceling. We were supposed to close in 3 days. They are like, awesome. Love that for me. Love that for me. Right? And I just have to put my phone down because I can't even make the phone call because I'm in the middle of 20 kids at my house, right? Which is not a bad thing. You don't have to be available all the time. This expectation of like, okay, great, has to wait a couple hours till I can get to the client. But these sudden shifts require immediate attention, forcing you to transition rapidly between emotional highs and lows without adequate time to process. So yes, while I'm standing in my kitchen with 20 kids and I get that text message, yeah, Am I present with the 20 kids or am I figuring out a deal in my head? You're all laughing because people just don't talk about it. People just don't talk about it. Okay? Long term, this is a problem. This leads to the release of cortisol and adrenaline, hormones that prepare the body for fight or flight. It's beneficial in short bursts. Chronic activation can be detrimental over time. Impaired cognitive functions affecting decision making and memory, emotional exhaustion, and burnout, increased risk of anxiety and depression. Remember how we talked about everyone gets up on the real estate stage and says, oh, I built this really great business, but also my life is a mess? This is why. They just keep bringing on more deals, bringing on more deals, run, 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 run. That does not math out. So when a tree stops growing, a wise gardener doesn't panic, she prunes. And when a branch isn't thriving, she grafts it into stronger, deeper roots. You have got to get your business in better roots. So here's the truth. This is what my business looked like this is how my kids looked when I moved my business over to eXp. I'd only been practicing real estate for 2 years when I started building a national team. A national team. Because my local brokerage was like, hey, Amy, do you want to help recruit agents? We'll cut you into all their deals. But I was already building on social media. So why wouldn't I build it nationally? Why would I keep my talents just to my little tiny local market? I was closing less than 10 million in production. I was only willing to work 20 hours a week. And I was by all industry definitions a very average agents. But I've actually built one of the largest and fastest growing organizations at eXp because I have taught the solo agent how to scale their business without hitting burnout. I run my entire business actually with just one admin who works about 10 to 20 hours a week and a buyer's agent. I work less than 25 hours a week from home, take a month off each summer, retired my husband. I've, by all industry definitions, broken all the rules. Would you like to show me how? Yes or no in the chat if you would like me to show you how. Is this aligning with you? Are you feeling like, yes, someone is finally seeing me? Someone is finally seeing like what my life actually is? Okay, you need to build a business that aligns with your lifestyle, not competes with your lifestyle. Okay, so let's do this. What does success really look like for you? Success for me means that I have monthly residual revenue streams. Monthly, write that down, MRR, monthly residual revenue streams. Because if you're only doing transactions, you're getting fired every 30 days. Every 30 days. And your broker will maybe just tell you, well, that's just the way the business is. No, it's not. It does not have to be that way. Okay? It does not have to be that way. Real estate is bigger than your local market. eXp gave me the best platform and support to scale without the stress. Here's why. This is splits and cap, 80-20 commission, $16,000 company cap. Once I reach that cap, which is like doing $2.78 million in production, then I just pay a $250 transaction fee. $149 startup fee, $85 a month cloud brokerage fee. These are just like the monthly fees, okay? They're all really, really low, super, super competitive, right? These splits are super competitive. This isn't even, hardly even matters. I mean, it does because some of you are paying astronomically high. If you're on a team and you're on a brokerage and you're paying, I talked to an agent that was paying 40 grand between his team splits and his brokerage splits this week, and all of his deals were self-generated. Who has an extra 40 grand lying around? Not me. Holy moly, Kathy just closed 1.35 and paid eXp $335. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. That's because she'd already capped, right? I never noticed that at other brokerages, top performers get sweetheart deals. They get better caps, better splits to those bringing in the most business. Makes sense, right? Because the broker wants to keep them. The brick and mortar brokerage needs to keep them. But it doesn't help other agents. Instead, it keeps those at the top and those at the bottom, right? If you're at a local brick and mortar and you go and talk to the top agent and are like, hey, can I sit and grab a cup of coffee with you, pick your brain? Why? If I'm at a local brick and mortar and an agent is asking me that, no. I'll give you Amy Peterson is a great example for me. Amy Peterson, how many of you know who Amy Peterson is? Yes or no in the chat? She's a Powerhouse agent. She lives 20 minutes from me and she mirrors me, right? She is a force to be reckoned with. If we were inside a local brick and mortar and she called me and said, "Hey, Amy, like, can we grab lunch? Can I pick your brain?" Why in the world would I teach Amy Peterson how to beat me? No, no. We overlap in social circles. We overlap. Like, why would I do that? There's no, like, that's my business, right? At Powerhouse, though, and eXp, because I'm her sponsor, when she wins, I win. So it actually makes sense for me to teach her how to beat me. And guess what? Amy closes more transactions than I do. How many of you have had that just blow in your mind right there? That I'll just admit to you that she closes more transactions than I do, right? You would never see that at a local brick and mortar. I had an agent telling me this week that another agent had a $9,000 caps and hers was $18,000. See, that's crazy. But it makes sense. They got to keep those top performers. Here's where this gets really fun at eXp, though. You get this equity program, every agent and owner. How many of you can get stock from your broker? We like selling real estate as much as every agent, but we like having an exit strategy too. How many of you would like to retire at some point? How many of you would like to retire? For most agents, the goal of pursuing real estate was to buy financial freedom and generational wealth. eXp offers a powerful equity program to help you get where you want to go faster. 3 ways to earn stock. Your first transaction of the year resets with your cap, and you get $200 of eXp stock. Hitting your cap, you get $400 of eXp stock. This is the fun one. When you sponsor an agent and they close their first transaction, you get $400 of eXp stock. So Amy Peterson named me as her sponsor at eXp when she closed her first transaction. I got $400 of eXp stock. Here's what's crazy. My second or third year, by the time I was in, I think it was my second year at eXp, I got over $16,000 in eXp stock because I sponsored so many agents and helped them close their first transaction. Can you believe that? Amy Peterson says that stock pays for my kids' college and I don't even miss it. It's so good. Same. Same. So I get rewarded for building my business by helping eXp build theirs. eXp Realty agents can receive revenue share. I want you to understand that profit share and revenue share are vastly different. If you're a real estate agent doing taxes, you understand that you write off everything you possibly can under the sun. So that makes you look like you made very little profit. eXp revenue share is top line. Top line. Income from the sales activity of productive agents they sponsor into the company. This is what Powerhouse is all about. This is why we're all pulling in the same direction, because when I win, when Tacey wins, I win, right? When Amy wins, I win. When Mary Reed wins, I win. So why wouldn't I help them? Why wouldn't they help each other? Right? There, you don't live in the same state. You don't live, like, what does it matter? Why can't I give you my system? Yes or no, if it would be helpful if you could copy and paste someone else's system into your business. Yeah. If you're visiting and there's someone in this meeting, Jillian, I got a baseball cap when I cap. I have 6. I'd much rather have $2,400 in stock. Yeah, love those caps. Love that. So cute. Okay, here's what rev share looks like. This is the chart. Can someone, Kristen Perkins, I'm going to pick on you. Can you get that rev share calculator link and drop it in the chat for everyone?
Will do.
Thank you. This is what Powerhouse is all about, by the way. Kristen is one of the brokers in Utah. And so there's a rev share calculator. Okay. Now, I want you to play on this calculator. This is what I did before I moved my license over to eXp. And all of a sudden I was like, oh, wait, eXp plays really nice with social media, which was how I was building my business anyways, right? I was doing 6 figures, working 10 hours a week. And I was like, this is the best business for a mom. This is so freaking cool. Let me go find every other mom that wants to build in real estate. And then after 2020, we see men also building very similar. Like all of a sudden we have this lifestyle has been more important, right? So when you sponsor an agent, let's see, I'm trying to go down. Let's see, I'll go with Jancy. Jancy is on my level 1. And then Jancy, who's your next sponsor? Who's like a level 2? Is Desi level 2?
Yeah, Desiree.
Desiree's level two, right, is on my level two because Jancy sponsored Desiree Runshaw. And then let's see who's on level three. Catherine McInturf. I always say her name wrong. Sorry, Catherine. I love you so much. Catherine then is on level three. And then she sponsored Sarah Roy, who was on level four. Who's someone below Sarah Roy? Jancy, can you think of anyone?
Um, Misha is.
Yes, I think Misha is there. Anyways, right? So you can start to see how this starts to stack, right? So Amy's up here. So when Jancy caps and she pays in her $16,000 to EXP pays me $1,400. And then when Desiree caps, I get $1,600. When Catherine caps, I get $1,000. When Sarah caps, I get $600. They have to cap. This is why you see the most productive agents at EXP. And that downline actually goes all the way down to level 7. Can you see like level 7 is where I get the biggest payout, right? So this is why we have this culture of collaboration at eXp, because why wouldn't I go down here and help this agent on level 7, right? This is why we create these rooms to support agents, okay? Go play with that calculator, plug in a bunch of numbers, say like, well, if I brought over X amount of agents, the one that I ran, and they've changed the rev share numbers, so it's not going to work in this example, but it does work, is I said, well, if I bring over 25 agents, and then those agents bring over, you know, I think I said if each of those agents brought over 2 agents, then I would have 50 agents on my second level. And if each of those agents brought over 2 agents, I'd have 100, right? And I just started doing the math on some of those things. And the number that you could build to blew my mind. And I was like, game on. I'm doing this. And not only that, it gave me the room of like, look around this room. Look around this room. It gave me the room of like, the Julie Fords and the Shaylee Clarks and the Sarahs and the Beths of like, oh, how are you doing that in your business? And my own transactions got fundamentally better. Okay, so Kristen dropped the link there. You can go play on that calculator. Those are real numbers. Those are real numbers, and people are doing those numbers. Okay, people are doing those numbers. Now, back to the production side. Thousands of eXp Realty agents and dozens of Powerhouse agents have achieved icon status since the program started in 2015. Once agents achieve or exceed icon, where did I list? They receive a number of benefits, including more stock to the tune of their entire cap. So here's what it is. Once you've paid eXp $16,000, that means you've capped, okay? You've closed 2.7 million in production or 2.8. And then you paid $5,000 in transaction fees. Now your transaction fee is $250 per transaction after you cap. So you basically have to do 20 more transactions after you cap. Okay. There's a little more nuance than that, but for the sake of this conversation, that's about what it is. So, or if you do an annual GCI of 500,000 or more with a minimum of 10 closed transactions, you then icon. When you icon, guess what eXp does? Jancy, what does eXp do?
You are eligible to get your entire $16,000 cap back in stock.
Yeah, here's why this is so crazy. In 2021, I think it was 2021 or 2020, I don't remember. Let's say there were people that got $16,000 worth of stock, and let's say the stock was $10 a share. That's about what it was. That means they got 1,600 shares of stock. Okay. Here's what happened. The stock ran up to $100 a share, and then it split, and we got our stocks doubled. Okay. So those $1,600 stocks times 100, because now they're worth $100 a share, are now worth $160,000 in stock. Okay. Then they split the stock. So whatever you had in stock, you now had double it. Times two, that icon of $16,000 in stock turned into $320,000 for people. Did you hear that? Like, could you imagine if you woke up and that was just for closing real estate, like you're closing transactions, you're just doing your job. Tina Call bought a new house. That's what happened. She pulled out her stock and she bought a new house. Now, your icon stock has to vest for 3 years, okay? Has to vest for 3 years. Okay? But you just start stacking this. I did the thing eXp, you can buy company stock at I think it's 10% off for every transaction close, right? So they can take 5% of your commission check and they buy eXp stock at 10% off. You following that? And when you move your license and apply, they'll ask you if you want to do that. And I just toggled it yes. I was just like, whatever, cool. I don't know, safety net, right? My real estate business was a side hustle when I started, guys. It was a side hustle. So I was like, sure, whatever. That stock pays for my kids' college and then some. Because I've just been buying it with every commission. That's like a 401k plan, right? How many of you have that at your current brokerage? Anyone have an exit strategy? So you're just building your broker's business, right? I don't even notice that it's taken out. Okay, I'm going to go back to what we were. Oh gosh, no, where did my thing go? Oh, 1 second. I always do this and then I lose my thing because I was in present mode. Okay, we're going to try this again. It's like the first time I've ever done this, you know? Thanks for being patient with me. Okay. I gotta get the chat back open now. Okay. You can do teams. This is how this is. I'll email this all to you. If you have a team, you can set up teams. It's great. It's normal. It's all the things like at your current brokerage. This is a local team model. We have agents inside Powerhouse that are building more of like micro teams. Desi's really good at that. Catherine's really good at that. And so everyone kind of has different skill sets, but easy to build a team. If you want to build a local team, easy to build a team. And our upline actually has some of the best team builders in the country, Dan Beer, Kyle Whistle. So if you want to build a local team, you can still join Powerhouse and you still get access to GoGo. You get access to Dan Beer, Kyle Whistle. It goes all the way up our entire upline. But the real question is what could you build? What could you build at eXp? How would your transactions improve? Do you think your transactions would improve if you got to be in the room with us every single week having conversations like this? Yes or no, if you think your transactions would improve. Drop it in the chat. Crystal, I feel like you saved so much money when you moved to eXp too. Like your cap and split was crazy. All right, let me show you a little bit what Sarah Wagner did. This is Sarah Wagner. Year 1, year 2, year 3, this is when she moved her license over to eXp and Powerhouse. Here's what's interesting. 1, her production skyrocketed. Yes, there is. There's Canadians. Natalie Davidson is in Canada. If you're in Canada, who else is in Canada? Guys, I have a 40-year-old brain and sometimes I can't remember. Sorry. Anyways, this is where Sarah Wagner, her production skyrocketed. And so oftentimes agents say, well, if I want to close more deals, I have to work more hours. No, you don't. You can increase your price point. You can do better deals, right? You can increase, like maybe you're running your splits at, maybe you're running your deals at 2% and you can push it to 3%, right? There's a lot of different ways you can increase your hourly rate. So this is what we like to talk about. So her production increased a ton, right? Her GCI, you can see here, stock options. She picked up $7,500 in stock options. Okay. Here's where it gets interesting. Take home pay. Her GCI is 130. Take home pay 78,000. Year 2, GCI 95. Holy moly. Take home pay 50,000. So this is the percentage. Look at this leap, how much more money she is keeping. Okay, that's crazy. That's crazy. Look at that jump. $130,000 more in her pocket jumping into Powerhouse. And a lot of it is just having proof of success. Proof of success. When you see other agents doing it, you're like, oh, I can do that too. Julie Ford did this. In 6 months, look at her reels. She decided she was going to be like the expert on multi-gen living. Okay. She's pushing 2 million views on these. This is where it gets interesting. It landed her in the national news multiple times, and it built a $15 million pipeline in 6 months being in Powerhouse. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open this up to, we're going to jump a little panel here. I'm going to bring Julie and Eric and Shaylee to the spotlight because, oh man, hi Eric. There you go. There's Eric. I just had Julie and Shaylee. There we go. I'm going to add the spotlight to both of them. And if you have questions, they've all recently moved their licenses over to eXp. They haven't been at eXp for 6 years. So I wanted to bring them in. If you have a question for them of like, hey, what has been, drop your question in the chat. But I'm going to start first, and I'm going to start with Eric. Eric, what's been like the biggest surprise moving your license over to eXp and Powerhouse? Like, what's helped you the most? How's your
Um,
business changed?
I would say the systems, really implementing. So like for me, I used to use like a bunch of different links for different things. I used Linktree previously, but it was still a bunch of different things. Well, utilizing like your stay in store template changed the game. Like it's just like plug and play, so I don't have to think about it. Like it's just right there.
So it's like having the recipe. Like, hi,
Yeah.
here's the recipe, and then you can go make the cookies. Can you imagine trying to figure out a chocolate chip cookie recipe? Just go stand in your kitchen and be like, but that's what real estate agents do all the time, right? They're standing in the kitchen, like, I'm going to make chocolate chip cookies, and they just have no recipe, right? Okay, Shaylee, your business grew a ton when you moved over to Powerhouse. Tell us how much it grew and why, how is Powerhouse a part of that growth?
Yeah. So I was at a family-owned brokerage before eXp, my family owned. And so I left my mom and sister-in-law to come to eXp. So talk about a massive decision, and some hard conversations. But I loved starting my business with them. I didn't see anyone who had the business that I wanted to build. I saw Amy and some of her downline were building the business I wanted to build. And so after years of following Amy, I'm sure some people on this call can relate of years of following Amy, just quietly stalking and not actually moving over. After a few years, I moved over and I went from selling just over 2 million with my family-based brokerage in 2023 to selling 13 million last year.
Okay, wait, say
So
that again.
uh, just selling over 2 million in 2023 to 13 million last year. And I will say last year was a very successful year, also very humbling. I had 6 million fall out of production with buyers. And so I would have closed 19 million if it were not for those. So my business grew astronomically, and it was just showing up, coming to the Tuesday calls. And then once I hit 7 million, coming to the Thursday calls and listening, just soak it all in, be a participant, be present, and implement. We don't need more information. We need implementation. And so show up, soak it in, implement, and your business will skyrocket. And then once you have that skyrocketing, then you can realize, okay, I'm making enough in transactions. What does my legacy business look like? And then you start focusing on other things. And you're not going to get that in your brick and mortar. I'm sorry. It just is different. It's just different.
Yeah. Okay, Julie, you had like a really like kind of a fun story. It probably didn't feel fun when you were living it, but now it feels really fun.
No, it did feel fun.
You know, I know it's been really fun. One of the things that all three of these agents have in common, which is and why we're talking to them, is they consistently are on Tuesday meetings. Our Tuesday meetings are solely production focused. We only talk about production, how to close more transactions in an easier way. We do not, the phrase hustle harder that's not a thing. It's like work smarter. Let's be more efficient in our building. And so these three agents all give as much as they get. And when it gets really reciprocal like that, it like magic starts to happen. So Julie, tell us a little bit about moving your license over to eXp and how that like impacted your business.
Yeah, absolutely. So I moved my license over in January, and then 2 months later, I unexpectedly left the team that I brought over with me, and I completely burned my business to the ground. Not planned, but that's what happened. And I started all over again. And I would just echo some of what Eric said and some of what Shaylee said. Like, I never miss a meeting. I never miss a meeting. And I use all the tools because there's so many tools for us in Powerhouse. But I would say for me, it was such a mind game. Like getting in the room with the people who are building the kinds of businesses that I wanted to build was the number one thing. Because honestly, you guys, I'm 56 years old. I was the most unlikely person to go viral on social media and build from 1,200 to 50,000 followers this year. Like, who saw that coming? Zero people. Zero people
More
saw that
people
coming.
saw that coming. That is
Yeah.
actually a fair statement. But this is what's so fun about it is because it's like that proof of success, right? Where I think so many people are like, you have to look like selling sunset in order for Instagram to work with you for you. And it's actually just the opposite, especially with AI. We're seeing like the more real you are, the higher you convert. The higher you convert. And Julie's been the funnest story this year because it literally landed her on the national news.
Fun.
I swear this is what I see for Julie. Okay. And this is what we do inside of Powerhouse is when she's on Fox and Friends, she's been on Fox and Friends more than once. And I think you'll be like a regular contributor. I think multi-gen is really going to be a thing inside of real estate, like more and more. And someone said up here, like, oh, I want like an HGTV show. Like those things start to be actually a thing and available to you because of that type of exposure. 50 is the new 30. Also, we're like, this is like the best hype squad.
50 is the new 30. Yes, it is the best hype squad. And I want to say, like, when I was at your retreat earlier this year, Rise Retreat, and I saw Kim Buckner on stage, who's my age and became a grandmother this year,
Yes.
that was another like green light for me. Like, we need to see each other doing this and be with the people who are building the businesses that we want to build. And then we know we can. Otherwise, if we're not around that, we talk ourselves out of thinking we can have what we want.
Yes, absolutely. We do have a couple of agents doing TV shows. They're doing the, what's it called? Drop it in there. Someone's going to remind me.
American Dream.
Thank you so much.
Mhm.
Thank you so much. Okay, someone is saying, did you start building your clientele if you are a new agent? And how did you get trained on the day-to-day business? So one of you guys want to take that question. If you have a brand new agent wanting to be part of Powerhouse and eXp, what would you tell them to do? Eric, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah, I would say if you want to plug in, as far as if we're talking about how to get the business, the prospecting, that's what you want to plug into in Powerhouse. If you want to know how to write a contract, eXp has you covered as well. There's a contracts class, your local board. There's so many different resources, so you won't be in the dark unless, well, you will be in the dark unless you just turn on the light. Uh,
Okay, that's a great analogy. Actually,
mhm,
like you just have to turn on the light. And the light is you need to be at your weekly, your every state broker has a weekly brokerage call, like a
mhm,
weekly call for your state. So if you're a brand new agent, you need to be in that phone call. Like that, you have to go to the
mhm.
training, right? So you can't complain that you're hungry, but not ever come to the dinner table when dinner's ready, right? Because dinner is there. You just need to go to the dinner table. And
Oh
that's
yeah.
your weekly brokerage call, right? And so to Eric's point, your broker and those brokerage calls and eXp University, like they will dot every I, cross every T. You'll be assigned a mentor that will oversee all of your deals so that your contracts are squared away.
Mhm.
Where are they going to go to learn how to lead generate, Shaylee?
Well, so I was going to speak to this a little bit. There was a question in chat of Shaylee, how did Powerhouse help you handle the drastic increase in your
Yeah.
business? And so this is an answer to your question and to that. There's a million ways to build your business. There's a million ways. And part of the joy of Powerhouse is that you get to see the million ways and find the one that aligns with you. So for me, I don't have a million followers on Instagram. I have a little over 2,000. My engagement is phenomenal. And so it's just a different way to build. I do client events. So I had a call right before this with some agents that I'm mentoring through a Bible study, and we were talking about client events or social events. And the more you're involved in your community, the more people will look to you as the expert. And so that's how I've grown my business. But for Amy, she's grown pretty much solely on her social media, but I mean, she's still deeply involved in her community. But I had a women's event and I was so nervous to host it. I was a new agent. I was like, are any women going to come? I have no idea. So I just threw it out on my social media and 30 women showed up. I got 3 transactions out of that. And I learned that by like showing up in these meetings, finding out how other people are building your business. So you have tons of training that is saved in Circle. Circle is how we communicate, kind of like our Slack. You can go back and watch any of those trainings, find the way that aligns with you to prospect those deals. We don't like to pay for leads around here. We like to keep as much money in our bank account as possible.
Yeah, I would love to know how are yes or no if you are paying for leads, like through Zillow or your team leader or something like that. Um, Julie, House Hunters called you? Did I see that in the chat?
Yes, yeah. But the thing with house hunters is you have to have just the right client at just the right time for them. So I haven't really talked about it because I don't have the right person for like what they need yet, but I'm working on it. So I'll
Okay.
keep you posted. Yeah.
Okay, keep me back. Or let us know. I want to know. What if you have a brick and mortar building and want to keep it? It seems like there's a lot of you that work from home and I don't want to do that. That's totally fine. You don't have to work from home. Who's paying for your brick and mortar building right now, Heather? You can keep your office.
Yeah, I unmuted myself. My current brokerage,
How much is it?
30 grand a year.
Okay. So, Kristen, I'm gonna cut. How would you structure that?
Are you asking me?
No, Kristen.
Oh, okay.
What have you seen Utah do with agents that have brick and mortars?
Um, if they're paying, and they're who's paying for it again?
Her broker. Why
Yeah.
are they paying for it?
So
That's
we,
crazy.
we can do a couple of things there, and sometimes it can be different for everybody, but we'd need to find out everything out about the lease and all of that. Are you coming alone, or
Do
if
you
you
have a
came
team?
alone, or if you came with a brokerage, all of that. There's things we can do, but it would be a little bit different pending the lease. So
Got it.
yeah, what state are you in?
Colorado.
Oh, yeah, you guys have really strict rules over there. They would help. eXp would help.
Okay.
I can say that with Colorado, they're going to help with that lease.
They'll help you. Do you have a team, Heather? Or
No, I just have myself and two assistants.
that's having a team. You have a team.
Yes, team. Yeah, I mean, I don't have agents. I've done that. Been there, done that with another brokerage, and I was like, I'll never do that again.
Yeah.
So, yeah, was not
Sorry,
good.
can I speak up really quick?
Yeah, feel free.
So I actually have access to a co-working space. You could get a membership at a co-working space if you have one locally. If you're just coming over by yourself, you're not bringing your whole brokerage or team. Um, that's something that you would probably be freed up financially to be able to afford something like that because you're going to be saving some money.
Yeah, how much production are you doing if your broker is willing to pay 30 grand in a lease?
I do between, I don't know, 15 to 20 million a year.
And what are your splits with your broker?
I get everything back that I pay in splits with the rent. So I pay 30K in a cap. So basically it's a break even.
Okay. So your
Are you contracted with your broker for a certain amount of time that he's paying that, or no?
No, no. I mean, we have a lease agreement, so I guess the contract would be when the lease ends, but I don't have a contract on
Okay.
my production or myself. Yeah.
So the question that you would have to start asking, Heather, is you would start to say, okay, so you're paying your broker 30 grand for office space, right? Basically, is the swap. And so then you have to say, is there a scenario where eXp can help you with the office space, right? And maybe it still ends up being a 30 grand thing where you're paying eXp your $16,000 cap. And I don't know how we adjust the other 14,000. But the real question is then do you think you can do more in production in less time? And then are you able to start earning stock options, right? Sarah brought in $7,500 in stock her first year. And if you do that every single year, right, it starts to stack up and that stock stats to grow. Yeah, Missy's saying you would icon, so you would get that $16,000 back in stock, right? So these numbers, while they seem like diluted at the front end, when you start stacking 16 grand in stock year over year over year over year, it's a ton of money that is getting left on the table, right? And then you say, okay, great, we can hang on to this office space, or we can find a less expensive version or option for you, or a different way to build your business that actually gives you, I mean, because you have to think about how many hours a week are you working and what is the exit strategy of the thing of like what is the monthly residual revenue stream. So actually I'm going to ask Eric, Shaylee, and Julie. They're all doing great in transactions, right? They're all inside of our elite phone call, which means they're doing north of 7 million in production. So the question becomes what's next? Like, what is the monthly residual revenue stream? There's a lot of different ways you can build this, and we're not here to say, oh, you can only build it this one way. We're here to say, like, well, what is the idea and what's next? So Eric, I'm going to start with you. What's like your monthly residual revenue stream that you want to build? Like, what's your exit strategy?
Definitely rev share. So rev share is the primary one. I've been here, I mean, almost 2 months, and so I've already brought over, one agent, and I've also closed my very first EXP transaction completely, and that it's just the catapulting of like what's possible with the systems and tools and the processes that were here. It was so smooth. Like
Yeah.
just everything was smooth. From the CRM of choice, like everything that we have to offer, it's like, okay, I can connect, and take this to the next level.
Yeah, absolutely. Shaylee, what's like your monthly revenue, like recurring revenue that you want to build? When I'm saying that, it's like you own investment properties and you get like mailbox money. Like it's coming in whether you're closing a transaction or not.
Yeah, so I own rental properties, so that's monthly revenue for me. I also train my clients on how to do it and self-manage. I also help agents help their clients rent out their house, upgrade, move, and rent out their or self-manage. So that's an arm of it. But honestly, like monthly residual income is very helpful and is very appealing. But what's more appealing to me in this group is the legacy that I get to leave behind. And so right now, what I'm focused on is bringing in agents into eXp, into Powerhouse, and helping them build a healthy business. I don't want to skyrocket at a speed that costs me my family. I don't want to skyrocket at a speed that costs me my finances. Like, if I can leave a legacy of pouring into the next generation of agents, or even agents that are older than me, whoever, I just want to leave a legacy of health in faith, finances, family. Like that's the win for me. So it's a bonus that at eXp I get to make money off of that. And so that's what I'm dreaming right now is a room of agents that are just killing it in the health department. Like
Well, I
your
like the
business,
phrase a healthy business.
yeah. Yeah. And your business can only be as healthy as you are. So if
Yeah,
you're burning out, your business is not going to be healthy. It can be successful. We know a lot of successful people that are very unhealthy, but it costs them everything.
absolutely.
This is about health.
Yeah. Julie, what's your like monthly recurring revenue stream that's kind of like now, guys, because they've just moved their license over. I mean, Eric's been here for 2 months. So like see how quickly we're like, okay, so you've got transactions figured out. What's this is the question, and we're gonna percolate on this. So Julie, what's kind of your monthly residual?
Mine is multi-pronged, definitely revenue share through supporting other agents. But there's a number of ways to do that, right? Like they can join us here at Powerhouse and eXp, or I'm running a monthly mastermind this month. I've got 14 people in my mastermind. It's a paid mastermind, so that's another income stream for me this month. And I love coaching other agents. And I also, I've had 6,000 people download my multi-gen guide in the last few months. So now I'm creating the next digital product for them that's going to be like a low price, so affordable for families, but a paid digital product that is just going to sell, over time, over and over again. So that's more residual income. So yeah, so I'm just thinking about I just saw Becky Fleming. Thank you for your nice comment about, about my coaching. Sorry, a little
No, you're good.
distracted by the
I
chat.
know the chat's going and you're like, I can touch everything. Uh-huh.
Yeah, so it's multi-pronged. I actually really do want to get into digital product sales. You've been super inspiring with
Well,
that, Amy.
let's talk about this really quick. This is like a conversation we would have. Like, if we were in an elites call and Julie said, I want to figure out a multi-gen guide and this would be not for agents, this would be for like the actual like client, right?
Exactly. Consumers.
Okay.
Yep.
So for the consumer, so let's say the guide's $29. Okay. I'm just going to throw that number out randomly. Say the guide is $29. And let's say that, I'm going to go back to my slide deck here while I talk about this so we can look at these numbers, Julie. If we look at this and say, okay, Julie here is talking about, actually, Julie, do you care if I open up your Instagram and I pull up the post?
No, it's fine.
Okay. I'm just going to show you guys how these numbers work. We're almost done here. Let me just pull up Julie's Instagram account.
Do I mind? Do I mind when Amy gives me personal coaching? I do not mind. I do everything she says.
How do you combat the battle of potential clients and local agents who look down on cloud brokerages? I had a friend who was successful at our local Caldwell, but when she moved to eXp, she lost business. Small town. Faith, I'm going to tell you something. Your clients likely have no idea who your broker is. Other agents might convince you that they do. There's no shot the majority of them do. Okay. Now, other agents might speak negatively. Great, prove them wrong. Like, she lost business. Was it because she stopped doing the work? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? There's like so many reasons. I will tell you that like inside of this room, you will not lose business because we'll teach you how not to. Just like I'm going to show Julie right now how to create a 6-figure revenue stream in 5 minutes. I'm going to tell you exactly how she's going to do this. Okay. And here's how it's going to work. And you need to understand this math because this is how we build exit strategies. Okay. So I'm going to remove all your spotlights so we don't have too many things going on here inside our meeting here. Okay. Then I'm going to share my screen. Okay. If I look at Julie's, I'm going to show you what her content looks like so you can understand how this works and who she's talking to. She's going to talk to the end consumer, the buyer and the seller. Okay. This is her first video that went viral. Okay. Here it is. I've watched this video probably 500 of the 1.9 million. Okay. Number one, and you'll see how bold and bossy I am. This video sucks. Let's just say it's not like some big professional video. And I think I'm saying it so bluntly because we are our own worst enemies and we think, well, I can't post something unless it's been like some professional, whatever. She's walking through a house and she's videoing through the house, right? And
it's not even me, Amy. It's the guy who flipped the house. I sold him the house and then he flipped it and he said, look what I did to the house. And he sent me this video and I'm like, gee, that looks great. And that's the one I used.
And that's the one she used. So it doesn't overthink it, right? I'm saying that in such a bold way because I want you to stop overthinking your own content, right? And I've said that to Julie a million times and we laugh about it all of the time because you're like, who would have thought this video goes viral? Literally no one's like, oh, I'm going to post this and it's going viral, okay? Great hook. Think you could never live in a multi-generational home with your parents? Let me show you what makes it work. She gives you all this solution right here. Down here at the bottom, comment or DM me Nest, and I'll send you my multi-generational living guide. She is prospecting buyers and sellers that are interested in multi-generational living. That's what she's doing right here. It is not, and aren't you in Boston, Julie? You're in Boston, right?
I am. Yep.
Okay. So this doesn't just apply to people buying and selling in Boston. People in Phoenix are doing this, San Diego, Chicago, New York, Tampa, wherever. It's happening all over the country. Okay. So bigger than her local market. here's where this starts to get really interesting. Okay. Now she has AI automations that we taught her how to do in Powerhouse, right? We teach you how to build out your many chats, how to build out your store. How is she delivering this? Okay. Look at all these people. Nest. Do you want to know how many people actually commented? 2,936 people.
That's just on Instagram because this also went viral on Facebook.
Holy moly. Okay, so now let's say that guide costs $29, okay? Because she's obviously going to over deliver. And I'm just going to round it up to 3,000. And let's say you get a 3% conversion rate, okay, on those 3,000 people. Only 3% buy the product, okay? So if I go 3,000 times 0.003, wait, is that right? What's 3%? Why can't I not?
0.03.
Guys, don't put me on the spot like this, okay? So that means 90 people buy it, okay? So times $29, that means that post weighs her $2,600.
I would be totally okay if one post paid me.
Yeah, and then, but look over here. Ooh, she did it again, right? She did it again. Okay, let's watch this one now, okay? Which this music is so great because it's like generationally, like that is like Billy Joel. Come on, she's hitting her age demographic.
Well, it's James Taylor. But yeah.
Oh, James Taylor, thank you. You're right. Fine, I was so close. So her video is like, what isn't it like Grand Millennial? Isn't that like a thing? Anyways, whatever. So her video.
Coastal Grandma, I think we decided to call it.
Yeah, I was like, what did we call this? What if downsizing isn't your next chapter? What if it's creating multi-generational home that fits everyone? Blah, 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 blah. Comment Nest for my free guide. Okay. Again, but look how many people commented this time. We're going to call it 13,000 people times 0.03. That means 390 people buy it off of that one times $29. That post makes her $11,000, $310.
Getting better.
How fun is that? Right? Then what if you put Facebook ads behind these viral posts? Yeah. And then suddenly, what if it's doing $10,000 a month for you? We've just created a 6-figure revenue stream. How did we know that's what we should do? Because the internet told us that's what people wanted. Okay. So this is what we work on building inside of eXp or inside of Powerhouse. This is what we'll teach you how to build. So that's
gonna go do that now.
yeah, go and do it, Julie. Go and do it, right? And then here's what's interesting. Now, Julie has all these people on an email list because they've commented. How many referrals do you think she's going to build off of that business? Because people are asking from everywhere. So then you have an email follow-up system that's like, hey, if you need to hire an agent, let's jump on a discovery call. And Julie's building out this referral arm inside of her business where now she's not doing all the showings. She's referring them to agents. What agents do you think she's referring them to? Powerhouse agent. Right? And so this is how you start to be able to compete with, I don't know, Zillow. Right? So if you're wondering if Powerhouse really is, that's a little snippet of what we do inside of Elites, is we all then brainstorm on how to do that. And then everyone else can say, oh, well, I specialize in Airbnb properties. Great. I'm going to do the same thing for Airbnb properties. We get it. Moving firms is a big deal. If you want to join us for Powerhouse Try-On, we would love to have you. I'm hoping that QR code works. Yep. There's a Google Doc that you just fill out to apply. You'll want to name the person that invited you to this meeting. The person that invited you to this meeting is the person that would be your sponsor. Don't name me as your sponsor. Name the person that invited you to this meeting as the sponsor. That application, that Google Doc is just an application for Powerhouse Try-On. It is going to be running in November, and you get to like jump into Powerhouse for 30 days. It's $97, and that just is the overhead of like running it. We will create a Facebook group for you, a chat. We will like simulate Powerhouse. You get to come to the calls. You get to be inside the room and see what we talk about and how we build our businesses and see if it's a good fit for you, because we get moving firms is a big deal. So you should try us on for size. We would love to have you. It's literally going to be the best coaching you could ever receive for $97. It'll blow your mind. Riley, thank you so much for dropping it in the chat. Any questions before we wrap up? Eric, Julie, Shaylee, thank you so much for being in the hot seat. Kristen, Samara, Jancy, thank you for jumping in. Powerhouse has actually been like the surprise of my life. The surprise of my life. I had no idea posting to Instagram when I wanted to buy and sell, like help people buy and sell real estate would lead to all of this. And I hope you know that whatever business you want to build, we probably have the resources you need to do it. And it doesn't have to be lonely, and it doesn't have to be hard. It can be fun. It can be easy. Thank you guys so much for being here, and we will see you guys next time.